Hello. Here our lesson 4, which is about the conditional tenses. In the previous lessons, we talked about the perfect tenses, or I know they were confusing and hard to understand, but this lesson is going to be much easier and it's interesting because this is used a lot in daily speaking in your life and um, their their formulation and their understanding or the understanding of them is so much easy. You only have to differentiate between these kinds of conditionals that we have. There's the overview of the conditionals that we have. We have four types of conditionals, which is actually five, but the most important one are these four. First one, we have zero conditional, which is used for specific facts, general truth, or giving instructions. Here we use if form with present simple in both clauses. Like we have if, present simple, and present simple because it's talking about the specific or the scientific fact or general truth, something that's real. And also we have first conditional, something that's possible to happen in the future. We have if plus present simple plus future simple. And what we are talking about today is the second conditional tense, which is important and different from the two others. This is used for unreal present and future. This is imaginary or unreal possibility. This is used for something that we will cover later, for something that is imaginary, it's unreal. It's not in the past, but it's not possible to happen in the future or in the present time. And what we use here is the past tense with the future, also in the past form. Well, and the last one is the third conditional. This is used for impossible things, something that had done and happened in the past or couldn't happen in the past, which is unreal past, impossible to happen. Here we are going to cover the second conditional. This type of conditional is used to talk about the imaginary or unreal condition that's unlikely or probably will not happen in the future, unless we are still thinking about the future imaginarily because of the impossibility of becoming the situation real. What I mean here is that the action is not happened in the past or is not stopped in some point in the past, but it's not possible also to happen in the future. So it's like an imagination. For its formation, we use past simple or continuous tense to talk about the future condition with if. And for the result, you can use should, could, might, or would, which in the second clause that we have without if. Here is the formation to more understanding. We have if here plus past simple, comma, would, should, could, modal verbs plus verb base. We have to keep this formula and use it. Here are some examples. If I went to USA this weekend, I would go shopping. Here the situation, if I went, is the past. I would go is also the past, but it's unreal. It's like an imagination, and this is not possible to happen because you cannot go to USA this weekend. So it's imagination. If I married him, I would be happy. This is also the same. And you can flip or switch the clauses that we have. You can start with I would buy a car if I won a lottery. It's impossible to win a lottery, so you cannot buy a car. If I won $1 million, this which is impossible, I could stop working. This is talking about the future tense by using past form. Um, let's look at this note, which is very important to know, and it's very different for you, I think. Note that this simple past form is slightly different from usual in the case of the verb to be. When we have verb to be, for he, she, or it, we usually or we always use was. But now we have to use he, were here because we said that it's imagination or it's not possible to happen. So we have to use were instead of was for all the situations we have for you, I, we, they, he, she, it. So don't forget about that. Here are some examples. If I were rich, I would buy a big house. Here we have verb to be with the adjective rich. If I were rich, um, actually we always said that I was. You may never, uh, you may haven't ever hear that you can say I were, but here it's I. If I were rich, I would buy a big house. And the second one is, if she were you, she would drive more carefully in the rain. If she were you, not if she was you, because she couldn't be you. Here are some exercises for you that you can practice. Let's look. We don't mind camping, but if we dash enough money, we dash in a hotel. Here are some multiple choices. Let's think for a moment and then we will answer the question. Okay, we don't mind camping, but if we if you chose D, so your answer is correct. But if we had enough money, here we have the if clause, so we have to have a past simple. If we had enough money, we would stay in a hotel. We would stay with the past, also with the past tense. So if you chose this, congratulations, you understood the lesson. The second one, if she studied hard, she would pass the exam. The first one is the past simple, so you know that the second one should be past also. She would pass the exam. Or you can say she would, she should, she might. You can use all of it. If he were a young man, he were, notice that, he would be able to walk faster. Here also, it's impossible to happen and it's imagination, so we have to use past. If smoking were allowed, smoking was a singular, so we have to use were in all the situations we have, as we said. I would have a cigarette. It's also the past. If you said, if smoking is allowed, I will have a cigarette. So there, that would be a first conditional, which is a fact or something that's possible to happen, or it's an opinion about something. The last one, we will learn a lot from dolphins if they could talk. Dolphins cannot ever talk, so it's impossible to happen. It's only imagination. You imagine that you would learn something or you would learn a lot from dolphins if they could talk. Well, I think it's really easy to understand, so you can practice more and hope you have a good time. Bye bye.